There. So, uh, how's it going, everyone? I'm back, and I'm back for a certain reason. I don't usually do this, as you guys well know, but I really wanted to get this. I really wanted to get this interview to you because I met this gentleman today, and he has a wonderful, 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 wonderful uh, idea for Valentine's Day. Okay. Have you had difficulty communicating with your other, with your spouse, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever? Have you had difficulty doing that? Do you want to learn how to dance together? He has a wonderful program that he can teach you this, and he can do it online. This is Jay Holloman, and I met him, as I said, today, a couple days ago on Blitzer. He joined me today on just a split minute. We decided to go on ahead and record this, and I wanted to get this out because this is a great idea for Valentine's Day. Okay, this truly is. If you have trouble communicating, listen to this, check it out, and then it gets you all the information you need. But you know what? This could be one of the best Valentine's gifts that you've ever given your significant other, um, pain in the neck, whatever they may be. So I hope you enjoy this. And like I said, might want to make this call because I think this is a great idea. So this is Jay Holloman. As I said, this is an interview that we did today. We couldn't fit it onto Community Impact, so we're playing it here now. Did you have? So there's this funny little holiday coming up in the next couple days. I'm not sure if it's an actual holiday or if there's just certain companies that are sitting there going, we need a way to make money. So let's make every guy sweat. Valentine's Day, guys. It's Tuesday. Tuesday. Well, you know what? I have my next guest. He can help you out, and he can do something for your loved one that is not only going to help you now, but it's actually going to strengthen your relationship for a long time. I'm being joined by Jay Holman, who runs Dance Your Freedom. And by the way, I love that name. Love the name. Dance Your Freedom. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And surprise, we're going to record a show today. Just wanted to put that out there. He called for one-on-one, and I'm like going, good, I got you. Let's do this. So we're going to be doing this. Jay, you have a very, very unique program. You've got a very unique method to teach, but it's all about it. This is really a chance to grow together, is it not?
100%.
So why don't you go on ahead and you were explaining it to me just a second ago, but why don't you tell me about your method?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much, Zach. If anything, I think if anything to begin is just have a quick little backstory. It's for me, you can even see it behind me. I've got stringed instruments. So back in 2000, I actually went and did a 2-year college course on straight out of Berkeley kind of curriculum, but it was in Nelson, BC. And I wanted to get into recording engineering. I wanted to do all these things that were very music related because I had been playing since I was about 14 years old. So, that was a long time ago. And I was sitting there going, checking out these colleges, doing the music thing, and I got into recording engineering. And then I actually got into a different direction because I was really, really intrigued by film scoring for movies and video games. That's the best way to say it. So what I found was I'm very much a creator at heart. I love to compose things. And then, so fast forward a little bit, I go back after 2 years. I go to my hometown, Kelowna, in the Okanagan Valley. I'm here in Canada. And I went back, and all of a sudden, neighborhood kids are knocking on my door with their parents, going, "We heard you went to music school, give it up." And I'm like, "But I'm not a teacher." And they're like, "Well, we're going to pay you 20 bucks an hour. And at the end of the summer, we'll be the judge." And at the end of the summer, Zach, I had 18 students. So I went, "Oh, I think I have this kind of inner teacher in me."
I'm a teacher.
Yeah, pretty much. And so the long and short of that is I converted a 5-bedroom, 2-level house in Kelowna, converted the basement, put up some soundproofing with carpet, everything like that, created this beautiful studio, and I really fell in love with it. I was teaching guitar, bass, banjo, mandolin, because it's all transferable once you know the theory behind it, and just loving it. A year and a half passes. I get into a big snowboarding accident. I go off a 15-foot cliff and land flat on the ice on a nice powder day, the only spot that is flat and ice. I stuck the landing, but I completely compressed my spine, and I actually fractured my L1 by about 15%.
Mm.
And so the long short of that is I had to shut down my studio. I couldn't sit in a chair for more than 30 minutes. And I went through about 2 years of some really, really hard times, insurance claims, things like that. And it was a pretty dark time. But what I realized was my obstacles are my gifts if I choose to see them that way. And I did. I reframed everything. I got into a very positive place. And that actually led me to dance because at the time, a girlfriend said, "Do you want to go do salsa?" And of course, I wanted to score some brownie points. So I said, "Yeah, sure, we'll check it out." And I was hooked, hugely hooked.
Me being a fat guy, and I would hear you want to go salsa, I would be thinking, oh, we're going for tacos.
That could be. I could see that. So, anyways, the whole idea of the twisting motion of salsa dancing wreaked havoc on my L1. And so I ended up finding blues dancing and West Coast swing, modern swing, where it's very ergonomic to the body. And so it actually strengthened my core. It gave me the ability to really be social more and just get out there. And I haven't looked back. And so I started training with the Canadian swing champions. I ended up moving to Victoria because my dad was legally blind and I wanted to help him out. So I moved here to help him out. And all of a sudden there was no community. People were telling me that, West Coast swing, that's for the older people. And you want to do Lindy Hop. And I was like, well, why can't I do both? And they said, no, trust us. You got to do this. And I said, no, I think I'm just going to develop my own. And so I moved to Vancouver, BC, trained with the best of the best, brought it back to Victoria. And for about 3 years, I built a scene from scratch. And so the long short of that is I came out with 65 students in 6 group classes a week. And then bang, COVID hits. And so everything gets streamlined, social distancing, everything shuts down. And all of a sudden I have to pick up, and wear a couple new hats. But luckily, I love people. I love helping people help people. So to me, to be a heart-based broker of networks and really reach out and just help people on a grand scale, well, Zoom comes along and there we go. Wish fulfilled, signposts, law of attraction. And all of a sudden now I'm teaching dance, I'm working with couples, I'm teaching communication and relationship skills through the art of partner dancing. But then also, as my other hat I wear is like this heart-based broker that's on Zoom worldwide, connecting people, essentially connecting buyers to suppliers all day long. So that's
Plug,
my story.
plugged in.
Plugged in, bingo. Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, Zach, because that seems to be the theme. It's like I feel like nowadays social media and all the things out there, reading Robert Kiyosaki and him talking about the hamster wheel and the rat race. Well, isn't social media just another hamster wheel? Like we're constantly fighting for attention and
Mm-hmm.
we have connection and acquaintances, but do we really have meaningful relationships and trust-based community that we can actually call up at 3 in the morning and they're going to be at our aid? Probably not. So I think communication and relationship is the key to everything.
And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of your story, and this being the first time that I've actually heard your story, if you were older, fatter, and American, and looked a little more like me, we would have like a lot of things in common. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, and as a guy who has felt the sting of the insurance companies, and anybody who listens to this show knows that I am very, very, very anti-insurance company, because it's still a fight. 8 years after the accident, every once in a while, it's still a fight dealing with all of that, and I know it led to the loss of, well, just about everything for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you and I will talk about that off air. But
Sure.
and there, the love of the love and the openness for change, you being able to change directions and make it something meaningful. That's a great thing. Me personally, I appreciate that. How has that helped you in your personal life, not in business life, but in your personal
Hmm.
life, being able to say, you know what, I like going in this direction, but I need to make this, I think for the betterment of my personal life, I think I better like alter my direction. How has that helped you there?
Hmm. Well, that's a great question. I mean, the thing that comes up for me right away is really having mastery around my own mind and understanding that, like, it's actually quite simple to me now. And it's helped me so much with this realization is we have nowhere to go, we have nowhere to be. And if our thoughts create our words and our words create our own realities, and everyone's reality is different, then technically can't we be the deliberate creator of our own life design? And for me, I think of the wheel of life. A lot of life coaches use it and whatnot. But that to me is true. It's like if you can balance the different aspects of your life and say on a scale of 1 to 10, bring those low numbers up, well, then we can actually have self realization. And I think even what COVID did for us was give us time to actually self reflect and realize like a lot of people I think don't even want to go back to work. So to go back
Yeah,
to your question, it's about that pivot. And for me, I tell people all the time, like, I don't really have a business. My business is other people. And if I could choose, I wouldn't have all these things that people are doing. Like even how I met you the other day, like I met you on a speed networking thing.
right.
And
Yeah,
and I just sat there going like, I'm never on this. I'm never on LinkedIn. Like people find me through high level association conversation. They say, "Oh, you got to meet Jay." Or like if I go on to a alternative networking, like an actual social business platform, some of the ones that I really care a lot about, I go on there and algorithms say I should meet someone. I feel like I've known that person for 5 to 10 years. They check all my boxes. I'd rather have that type of conversation because to me, that's a right fit audience. That's a raving fan. Whereas when I go on like LinkedIn and I try and meet someone, that to me is just like sifting and sorting through the noise. Right. So to go back to your original question, I feel like well, can you repeat it again, Zach? I kind of I
I
have
just want to
sound.
know. Yeah, I just want to know that your professional life has forced you to make different turns. How
Right.
has that helped you in your professional life or in your personal life? Being able to, and obviously you've been able to do this very successfully in professional life. How does your ability to make shifts in life? How does that either helped or impeded your personal life?
Hmm. Well, I guess what comes up for me is the whole idea of everything's integrated. Like my personal and my professional, they're not separate because if you're not picking it up already, everyone that's watching this, I do everything by life design. I believe in effortless. I am constantly looking for more ways to create more timelessness because I value first my energy, how much energy I can put into these type of heart-based conversations daily. And then really, then there's my time and then there's my money, right? But it's always my energy first. And so everything I'm doing is by life design, right? Even my dance studio behind me is by my own design because I started looking at all the things out there and the overhead, and why not just streamline things, create your own environment. And if anything, what I aim to do, like I got this from one of my mentors, Scott Schilling, is be an asset, be a spontaneous servant every time. And one of the things when I'm networking, I actually have a very challenging time when I'm at those kind of events because people see, first thing when they say, "What do you do?" I get hung up because I'm like, well, honestly, the answer is I show up where you need me. If you need communication and relationship skills outside of dance, I can do that. If you need it through dance and you want to expand on your social life, I can do that too, right? I'm also a certified mind models coach, so I'm a language patterning coach. I can hear your words, Zach, and I can know you better than you know yourself. So I use all of that on a daily basis, but it's not about a business, if that makes sense. Like I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, I'm like, I'm not really a business owner. I'm a person that does business.
I, again, I love that, and I do. I'm actually looking forward to our conversation after this interview, probably even more than I was before we started this interview, because there are certain things that you're saying. One of the things that you brought up is that algorithm, matching you with people. One of the things that I always tell people when we're looking for partners, to take in and put our partners out there, one of the things that we want to do is we don't want to take and we don't want to introduce people to Dance Your Freedom. We want to introduce them to Jay Hallman. We want them to think, hey, you know what, this guy sounds, he's gone through some of the same things I've gone through, he sounds familiar. And then when they start talking to you, one on one, it's kind of like, damn, I've known this guy for a while, that in your mind, okay, so I've kind of known this guy, because I'm one of those guys that I'll drive past two or three convenience stores to get to one that where I walk in, the person is like, wow, the Devils really took it on the chin last night, didn't they? Or, man, you look like crap today. What happened? Did you wake up or what? They want to joke around with me because they know who I am. I don't want
Yeah,
to go into a store where some kid's talking on his cell phone, picking his nose. That's not, look, they sell the same products. They sell the same. It's a personal thing. I want people to know who you are. And I
yeah,
think that that is something that is very important to most shoppers. Is that, you know what? I'll spend a little extra money if you're good to me. If I get treated well, if I feel like, I matter.
yeah,
And so that's really something that, and I think that a lot of the big businesses have taken that feeling out of people's hands.
yeah.
We've got a whole new
100%.
generation of people. We've got a whole new generation of people who have never experienced that. They think shopping is okay, go in, shop, mindless robot. I'm here, my transaction's done, move on. And that's a damn shame. I'm just going to say that's just a damn shame. And I'm hoping that, with a lot of our partners, we're able to bring that back a little bit, and
Yeah.
people are going to be able to experience that again, and maybe, we can change a little bit of momentum there.
I agree, Zach, 100%. I mean, I was just talking with someone the other day and I was talking about this big surge of high tech. Well, we have to actually merge and we really have to be very mindful of the balance of high touch. It's like, it really is about high touch because I don't know about you, but I am so tired of support tickets and non fulfillment happening in courses and programs. There's so much information accessible out there, but what it lacks is substance and sustenance. I know so many people that purchase shelf improvement, and it just doesn't happen. It's not sustainable. It doesn't provide them with substance and sustenance. Like one of the things that I love about my brand is I really teach people, including myself, because it's a daily practice. But what I say is like, be the authenticity lighthouse of who you are. Don't get swept up in all of the noise and the static and the constant messages coming at you, because even nowadays, like now all of a sudden it's being happening more with text, and my email box and all these things are being flooded, and spam is huge, and it's just I see everyone fighting for attention, right?
You know,
And they'll
if you
pay big money for marketing and SEO and all this stuff. And now with chat and GPT and everything, I'm sitting there going, okay, now AI technology is going to do our jobs for us, so we get even lazier. So then work ethic's going to go lower, right?
yeah,
Like we did that even in the music school. My professor came in with all the people. There's about 90 people in the school, and we took a vote whether we would do auto tune or not in the school. And we actually voted no. And the reason why is because we believe that if you want to be that performer, you work on your craft. You sharpen the saw, you hone your skills. And if you don't have that ability, then sorry, you probably shouldn't be there, because you're not an artist. You're someone that's cheating, right?
automation takes away individuality, one. And I also think in something that you said that really struck a chord. I think that if you try to be somebody, if you try to talk to somebody and say, you know what, this is who I am, this is who I am, but you're making a lot of it up, trying to sell yourself in something different, do you have the memory to remember what you told them? If you are not yourself, if you are not, if you are not being yourself 100% of the time, can you remember who you're supposed to be?
Bingo.
And that is something that, that's something that, like I said, this is very important to me in the structure of what we're doing with the company. And I love working with people like you, because this is this isn't what you're selling, this is who you are. So this is not what you're selling, this is exactly who you are. What, this is what you are. And even more than who you are, this is what you are. You're not trying to, sell the BS of being a business.
Bingo.
You're not selling anything, you're just being yourself. So
Yeah.
um i I appreciate everything that that we just talked about. I appreciate it more than you can know, because I love hearing that from people. I love hearing the genuine, the genuine truth about you. And I do. I love that.
That's cool, man. Thank you.
What
I love
what
sharing,
what are
sharing my
some of
heart.
the things that you can teach people for this? Let's bring it back to Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
So
100%. Well,
yeah,
interesting enough, I can actually tie all this together. I was thinking about that. I just went, okay, everyone that's watching still, what the heck does this have to do with my method and dance? Well, honestly, everything I just said is how it ties in to how I'm different. So when I teach communication relationship skills, I teach people to plug in, pressure matching. I teach them to be a team. And I don't focus on counting. I don't focus on choreography and script like many dance classes would. What I do is I get people to plug in and eyes forward, and they're not in their own world trying to figure out their feet looking down, which throws your alignment, but they can finally be in this natural ergonomic, agile, very flexible kind of posture. And so now when they move together, they move smoother. And so in 5 to 7 minutes, I have people having massive ahas, and they're just blown away. Like one of the things I do is I teach wedding couples. So I love teaching the first dance, because going back to my story, being that composer and telling a story from the beginning to the end and having such a remarkable moment in another person's life, right? Plus, what I'm doing is I'm teaching them not how to do a whole bunch of choreography, but to dance the level of the music. So if the music's mellow, they're doing things that fit, are practical and suitable to be the visual representation of the mellow part. And then when it opens up and it has more energy, I teach them cool things they can do that way. And then the turns happen and maybe a power move or a dip. And it has way more substance and sustenance. And the audience and themselves, the dancers themselves, go, whoa. And they usually come back after their wedding. And to me, that is the proof of concept, if you will. That's the rubber meets the road, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh my God, this guy does something so unique that really it should be shared by the world." And that's why it led me even over the pandemic to teach online because of that. Is I was like, you know what? I'm not going to restrict what I do locally on an island. I'm on Vancouver Island, it's quite small. I can actually branch out and share this method with the world. And
Actually,
tied to that is active listening and really being in your body, being in a place of more mindfulness, and just letting go of the stress of the world, because that's what to me means to be mindful. And then once you start understanding your own body more, you can plug into another human being because there's that like unity, right? So that's how it all kind of ties together. Is that's why I say I teach communication and relationship skills. And one of the many branches that I do is through dance because I've been doing it for 10 years, kind of road testing it in the wild, aka social dance floor.
you mentioned something earlier about, you can get them to where in when they're screwing up together, and I can't remember exactly how you put it, but I thought that was, they can make something beautiful because they're screwing up together. I like that. I think that's great because,
It is.
I mean, it's look, matching things. I mean, it's not that I watch it a bunch, but even like synchronized swimming or something like that, there's a beauty to it. And even if they screw it something up, if they're doing it together, it can mask a lot of imperfections.
100%. Because if the leader is intending something, a lead, then they're intending a direction. They might not know exactly what they want, but it happens. And so all of a sudden that idea comes out of them. Well, if you are, as a follower, what I teach is like to be a stalker of that pressure to magnetize. Well, whatever happens from the leader, the follower will follow, and it's authentic. Versus if I taught someone a pattern, if it doesn't happen the way that the expectation is, because really, tied into what I said before, perception of a perception, right? If it's an interpretation of an interpretation, that to me even sums up going to a group class. Why I stopped teaching a lot of group classes is because of that, because you see me do something, but unless you feel it and you get that personalized feedback, you're actually just making up an interpretation of interpretation. So it's not uncommon for people to come from group classes after 3, 4 years and they come work with me and they have all these aha moments going, oh my God, I made up something completely different than what's actually happening. Like those muscles weren't actually firing or whatever it is, but it was like, it was so simple, but they missed it. And then unfortunately, they have to figure that out 4 years down the line. Well, how much time, energy, how many bad habits do they have to rewire and I have to rewire versus they could come to me first? Because that's another common misinterpretation is you don't want to do coaching after group classes, you want to do it before, because it's like understanding a language. You want to really get the nuance of it. So then when you're in a group class, it's an experiment, it's a lab. And now you test out the things because every single person's different. That's what Dance Your Freedom's about. It's like when you dance your freedom and you have more of that confidence and competence in yourself, and then you branch that out to other people. Now I can travel all over the world and make magic happen for 3, 4 minutes. That's a universal skill that I can take on and off the floor. I can even show up in any city, any country, and I can meet so many people so fast. And maybe we don't even speak English.
This is
It's
great
powerful.
for a this is great for a pair that's maybe they're having a difficult time trying to communicate.
100%. I work with a lot of relationship coaches because they see my method and they go, wow, like part of what I do, even as a mind models coach, it's something I can leave your viewers with, is it's something called the three E's. And really it stands for effective, external, and evaluation. So, what I do in my life, and you asked me earlier how this plays out personally, and I do this in my business too, it's everything, it's every moment in life. Life throws curveballs at you. It's really
Mhm.
how we perceive them. So, all I do as an exercise, and anyone can do this, is I look at it like, is this ineffective or is this effective? So, how that relates is when you show up in front of me for coaching, the first thing I do when I do a quick little intake appointment to understand your learning style and your hobbies and stuff, because I relate that in the languaging, I ask, or I actually invite, I just say flat out, in my world, there is no right or wrong, good, bad. It's effective and less effective. And I give them a spectrum. And then I ask them, like, hey, what I'm doing with this hand placement up here versus lower, is that more effective or less? And they'll tell me, right? Because I believe if you discover your own resourcefulness, and I'm the facilitator, you now own it. But if I instruct you to do something, dance instructor, well, now I'm basically just teaching you something like a script, but you don't understand, you don't own it, and you can't adapt it and augment it to other things like screwing up together,
Yeah.
right? So going back to that, the three E's. So we have ineffective, gets reframed to effective. So if you're doing something and you're like, is this ineffective? Yes. If that's the answer, okay. What might I do? Might's a powerful word. What might I do to have this be more effective? And you'll actually find the answer. It'll come to you. And then you go, okay, well, is this external or internal? Because if it's internal, it's loaded full of feelings and justification and rationalization and excuses. And actually, which ultimately summed up is judgment. Well, we're really easy for human nature to just judge ourselves and others, right? We're really hard on ourselves. That, itty bitty shitty committee in the background, it's loud, right? But we can tone it down and be like, okay, is that internal, external? Because we're looking for, like scientists, we're looking for external data, not internal, because that's our world. But what about actual external fact? Okay. And then the third is evaluation. So we actually evaluate because everything that's coming at us in life is really just a data point. So if we take it as that, we can actually be in a neutral place, an aligned place, and we can actually shift it. So back to what you said before, Zach, that's where the transformation happens. That's where actual change happens, right? And so those three E's. So really, it's like transform things, shift it to effective, and then look for external, and then have that evaluation. And that's something that I use in every aspect of my life. Like I used to be stuck with my girlfriend and I in arguments for 2 days, a week sometimes, harboring resentment, not seeing what we truly felt. And then all of a sudden, now with this new method, using the 3E method, we can shift it in 20 minutes or less. So, yeah, the stuff will happen. Life will throw things at you. But with this method, I can actually compress the time frame and get unstuck faster. Well, how does that relate to dance? I do the same thing. I start teaching my students in a coaching session. In one coaching session, they start actually thinking differently. And that's really part of my method. I teach people how to think and then how to take that method of how to think effectively and actually how to think about dance, because then they can dance any dance because they know how to break it apart. They know how to name and label it. They basically identify it, and then it can be repeatable, and then even more transferable to others.
It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to learning more, Jay. Danceyourfreedom.com, or is it .ca?
Nope, that's it.
It is
Danceyourfreedom.com.
.com. Okay. It's danceyourfreedom.com. And they can also reach you at 250-886-4599.
You betcha.
Uh,
Yep.
250-886-4599.
Yep.
Jay,
I'm here in
I want to,
Victoria, BC, Canada, everyone. And I didn't say this, Zach, but I think this is the biggest call to action. I love hearing what people are up to. Remember, I said a spontaneous servant every time. And one of the hats I wear is being that broker of networks. I love helping people help people. So, businesses, nonprofits, whatever you're up to in the world, I want to hear about it because then chances are I know someone that I can connect you to. And the other thing too is the biggest call to action is I want people to join me on an alternative network where there is no spam, trolls, advertising. It's just me and them. And we have those algorithms that we can use to find our right fit audience. But ultimately, what I'm doing is I'm creating my own TV show. It's called Big Talks. And so what you heard today is what I do is I interview people and I really talk like this, not small talk, no surface superficial. Like let's actually talk and just let it go. And it tends to be pretty organic. But the people that I'm interviewing there are extraordinary. They have extraordinary stories to share, and they are those authenticity lighthouse, right? Just like you, Zach. Like, I really want to acknowledge you for the pay it forward movement that you have. Like, you're being an authenticity lighthouse of who you are, that beacon of hope for others so people can clearly see you from this sea and ocean of chaos and they can see your light and then they're drawn to it. And I know that that's what it was for me, man. I met you at a speed networking thing and in 5 minutes and in 20 seconds I knew you were a right fit person to talk to.
I greatly appreciate it. Jay, you also have gift cards available for, say somebody sees the value in this for someone else.
100%, because a lot of people don't know this, but I do teach over this virtual conference platform. And the way that I do things is highly effective. So it could be solo or partnered, it doesn't have to be that way. And I love working with groups. So for all the relationship coaches, the networks of networks, I'm looking for shepherds that have big flocks and they want to do a group thing. Like so many things could be very customized to whatever fits them. There's no restrictions. I'm about having no restriction, no boundary.
Well, I love it, and I cannot wait to talk to you more. Danceyourfreedom.com. Uh, Go and join him, and let's have a conversation. Why don't you go on ahead and dial him up at 250-886-4599. Jay, I want to thank you for your input to this show. I am really looking forward to this conversation we're going to have in just a few minutes because this is fantastic, and I think that you and I are going to be able to do some great things together to help out a lot of people. So, the
Fantastic,
last
Zach.
the last moment's yours. Anything else you'd like to say?
Hmm. To everyone watching this, whether it's recording, an encore, anything like that, I really invite you to use those 3 E's. Those 3 E's were so, the beauty of a recording is you can rewind it, you can pause it, take notes. I tell my clients all the time when I'm coaching them or doing consulting work, it's like, yeah, you might be one of the few that read a book, like you read 52 books in a year. Congrats, that's awesome. And have you ever read one book 52 times? Something like that. Can you take the 3 E's and think of all the aspects of your life wheel and where would it be a good place to practice it? Because no matter what you hear from me today, it means nothing if you don't implement it. So if you do this in small little chunks and you just do this while, say, you're driving or anything, it could be used anywhere. Just use the 3 E's because I'm all about leaving you better than I found you. And I think that if you use just the 3 E's or you share this recording with someone, you're going to actually cause a ripple effect because what I know and what I've gathered for over a decade means nothing if it's not shared. So I just invite you to share.
Thank you so much, Jay. I greatly appreciate it. One more time, everybody get a hold of him, danceyourfreedom.com, danceyourfreedom.com, 250-886-4599. Thank you, Jay. I look forward to more conversations in the future.
Oh, I would love that, Zach. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a guest. I love what you're doing. Keep what you're doing. Keep going. And people reach out to Zach. He's got an amazing thing happening here. And he's creating big things with big people. So
thank you,
I
sir.
can't wait for the next one. Thanks so much,
All right.
Zach.
Yep. Again, one of the only reason why we came back on at an abnormal time is because Valentine's Day is just a few days away. Wanted to bring this to you because what he is offering, look, I said it earlier and I'm going to say it again. Say you're going through a rough patch, you don't want to just take and throw flowers at the wife, at the husband, something like that. You want to do something. Say you're not going through a rough patch. Say everything's going wonderful, but you think that there could be a you think that there might be a little bit of improvement in the conversations and in the communication area. Learn to dance, have a little bit of fun. My wife loves to dance, and I know she does, but I cannot stand that stuff. I really can. But um, we're very proud of the way that we communicate. But there's not. I don't see how we couldn't all use a little more communication. So again, I'm not trying to play favoritism here. I loved his message. I look, I've had 2 meetings today that just absolutely blew my mind. But this one has a lot to do that you can really turn your Valentine's Day from great to wow. Life changing. Actually, make this made up holiday be something special, instead of just candy. Who in the hell am I trying to kid? I want the candy. Hell with the communication. Give me the candy. I'll even take those little chalk hearts. I'm okay with those. Yeah. I'm kind of a dork though, so ask any of my wives. They probably not gonna give much of a different answer from there. But once again, I do want to thank Jay for meeting with me today. We had we did have a great interview after that. You're gonna see a lot more of Jay. He's joining the program as a advocate and as a sounding board. There's a lot that we're going to do with Jay here in the near future, and I'm really looking forward to him being part of this company. So have a great weekend, everyone. Please be safe out there. Please remember, look, be careful. Okay. Be careful in everything you do. Remember, it's not just your life that's in danger, it's everybody else's around you. Please be careful. Please be responsible. And please make sure you love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. If you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. And no one has to go alone when we all come together. Again, it is cold. Make sure that if you have a hoodie that doesn't fit you, throw it in your car. Hand it to somebody who's struggling with the cold. Doesn't fit you, it's not doing any good sitting in your closet. If you got extra food, put it in the old hillbilly Tupperware. Put it in an old butter bowl, get it in the microwave, take it to where somebody's hungry. Wasted food is wasted food. Food given to somebody who's hungry, it's not wasted at all. Money is not the only way to help people. Kindness matters a lot. Please make sure that you keep passing around the word of Community Mission to Rescue 22. We are about a week and a half away, and 1 week from this Sunday is our Pampered Chef event. Make sure that you please share the Pampered Chef event. You can find out more by going to the pamperedchef.com/party/rescue22 fundraiser. Any purchase made is a donation to the 9 organizations that we are raising money for on the bottom. Also, remember to go to our Facebook group, the Community Pay It Forward One Hope Wine fundraiser, because you get to choose out of all of the organizations that are down there which one you want to donate to, simply by buying a bottle of wine. Again, this is not about the wine, but this is about the wine, but it's more about the causes. My name is Zach Clayton. You can get a hold of me by using my Form My card. Simply go there. Have any questions? 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. Texting that number is the best way to get a hold of me. 970-909-0751. I will text you back. Please, everybody, have a very safe holiday or weekend holiday. Oops. We'll be back here on Monday. I'll be the button monkey again for Sean on Monday, but you know what? I'll probably be popping up on this screen too, because there's a lot of stuff going on the next week. So again, please take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. If you need any help, reach out to Community Pay It Forward. We are here to make everyone's life better. And we've got about 150 partners who are looking to do the same. Shop with them. No, referral from them means a donation to somebody in need. Visit communitypayitforward.us to find out more. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Again, please be safe. Thank you.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home, out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.